All right, I believe we are live, but there's only one way to bring Sports Channel 8 back, and that's with the best theme song in sports history. Here we go.
Sports, when you've got a great ball club. Sports, when you're leaving it all on the field. Sports, when you like your team's chances. Sports, to survive and advance in sports. For the teams you love and the teams you love to hate. Oh, it's Sports Channel 8. Yeah. Sports Channel 8. Hey! Hey! Hey!
It is Sports Channel 8, the streaming show, the podcast. What do we call it? We're streaming, but we'll release it as a podcast later. That's right. We are Sports Channel 8. If you are not aware, we've been a lot of different things, a Twitter account, a radio show. But right now, we are streaming. Many of you may have found us when we used to be on 99.9 The Fan, and we had a lot of fun over there. But we did some negotiations, and things didn't work out to be there on the fall. But we missed doing stuff with y'all. And more importantly, we heard a ton of feedback from folks, and I already heard back from folks this morning saying they're excited about the show. And so we wanted to sort of regroup, figure out what format we wanted to do stuff in, look to the new technologies and whatnot. And
I'm making a push for NFTs. That's really where I want us to go. And I mean, we're just missing out on a lot of money right now by not just really pushing going the non-fungible.
If we had started this the first Monday of the year, well, we had already given it up by now. It'd be good that we're starting it now versus like January the 3rd.
Absolutely. Yes, I think that is exactly right. Hold on, let me move my headphones around so I can hear better.
Did you say fungible? Is it fungible or fungible?
I believe it's fungible.
Fungible, yeah. I said that wrong the first time. Sorry.
No, I still refuse to call it a GIF. It's always going to be a GIF. So if we want to go with fungible as the accepted pronunciation of that word.
Okay, cool.
So I see people jumping in. I'll hit it again. We are going to try and do this for now. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 10 a.m. is going to be our aim. Is that too much of a commitment for you, Swain?
I thought we were just going to do a Monday and then like a Wednesday at some point and then a Friday.
We already got our first comment that says, if you hate Ben Swain, that's a you problem. So there we go. Shout out to Jack Farrar, who's in there. All right, but we're going to try and we'll try and do this regularly. You can follow us on YouTube and Facebook, where you can comment. On Twitter, we'll be live. You can reply, but we can't see those. It's not set up like that. Yeah. And we can't get on Instagram yet. We could be on LinkedIn, but since everybody else has other jobs, we were like, that's probably a bad idea. So check us out, follow, share, subscribe on YouTube right now, and we'll get the podcast up and rolling on Apple, Spotify, all those places. We'll let you know when it's up. But please help us spread the word. The most fun we have doing this, we're just sports fans in North Carolina. All of us grew up in North Carolina. We love North Carolina sports, or sometimes we hate them, depending on what's going on. And so we're just here talking to the sports fans of North Carolina and having a good time. Do y'all want to jump in with the big sports topics? And I've got them right here. Number one, on the back of my Raleigh water bill, weather, baby, snow. What's going on? Shout out to Mark Wood, one of our producers. Shout out to Kelly Stevens Pageant. What's going on? We missed being with you guys. Weather Moose, you can either brag or just come correct. Did you get it right?
I got it 100% right, Hayes. There's no room for error, no margin for error. I was first. I was rightist. Got it here. Perfect.
All right. Rightist. Respect it. So come to Sports Channel 8 for all the best. You did have a map out there. I'm not going to call people out for how they do things.
There's a lot of rightists in Johnson County, by the way, too.
One dude was there's one dude whose weather map was like way too detailed. Swain, I believe you compared it to like seeing an anatomy of a pregnant woman from the side where you're like learning all the parts.
Like the cross section that you see in science class of
there were just
too many like curvy things in there. And,
they're just
way too much more information.
Moose had a pretty simple like this area is going to get a bunch of snow.
I just need enough. Am I going to get enough to play with? That's like the same thing as science class as well. So
Goodson, how excited were you about snow at the Outer Banks?
What? It snowed at the Outer Banks?
Yeah, big time. It was like snow sitting there right up on the ocean. Kind of cool. The Outer Banks might be its best when there's like snow there. You don't get beach snow very often.
Oh, hey, I got one thing to say about snow.
Of course.
I got one thing.
The Outer Banks place is the best for something. Shut up, Hayes.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying that's time it might be the best. All right.
Beach, Crystal Coast, Brunswick County, that's better for snow than the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
All right. Hubert Davis fan, you also hate snow, apparently.
No, two things. First off, suck it to everybody in Roxborough. I think Roxborough got the least amount of snow of anyone on this like streaming service right now. So that's awesome because Roxborough always gets so. And then I was thinking as the snow came and went that snow is kind of overrated. The actual day that the snow is here is kind of too much for me now. For me, it's like Christmas. I like the build up to Christmas. I think we've talked about this before. Christmas is an exciting build up. You're hanging out with friends. You're doing all the things. And then the actual day of Christmas ends up becoming a lot. You're running from one place to the next. Your kid's opening up a present and not even caring about it and getting into the next present. And snow, I don't know about y'all, but I got a 3.5-year-old now, and our house is just covered with wet clothes. She was kind of miserable the whole day. We went up and down hills left and right. It just became too much on the actual day. I like the forecast and the buildup of snow way better than the actual snow day itself.
Anyone else want to chime in on that?
Isn't that just like everything in life, though? Like we build everything up. This is going to be the best. This is going to be the most fun. And then it's like, I don't know what happens. And I think Goodson, what I'm saying is you need to do a better job living in the moment.
Well, BG, you said we don't do that with everything in life. I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of the 98 70s.
That's a good point. Fair point.
I lived in the moment in the Joel Coliseum on Saturday night, and it was great.
Do you even sled though, Goodson?
I went down. I did go down with the kid. Yeah,
sledding. Yeah, but not on like a real like sledding. Real sledding is so rare and just so cool. Like maybe I don't ski enough, and people that ski would be like, "What sledding's like JV skiing?" But like I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy sledding. My wife and I like trudge out there at midnight Friday night when it's snowing. And then like not 7 a.m., but pretty early on Saturday morning to make sure it was still good. But I don't know. I like sledding. Moose, Swain, any snow? Nah. Moose is like, no, I just call it.
Mentioned that he was
look,
I want to talk about the dude who was wrong, Moose, and I want you to back me up on this. The dude, I don't even remember who it was. The guy that said that snow is 10% water.
Yeah, what was that?
No, you don't count the middle part as snow, right? Like, snow is the stuff that makes it up. And like the analogy that we used was a basketball net is 10% net. Like no, the net. The pieces in the middle of it is air, but the actual snow is 100% water. And so yeah, it's just another case of weatherman trying to sound smarter than everybody else by just throwing out like that's a Goodsonism. That is a Goodsonism weather comment right there. Is that snow is 10% water? It's 100% water, and we all know it is.
Solid comment from Double D. Why do you look like you quit your construction? That is too accurate.
Yeah.
Too accurate.
I feel like so. Is that a comment that Moose kind of looks like some like rejected Danny McBride character? I feel like that's
100%. If I turned off my virtual background, you'd see my office here at Crockers Nub Elementary, buddy. That's
all right. Let's hit some actual sports.
You kids get back to class.
Let's start where Mike Greenberg would. Let's start in the NFL with what are the Jets going to do No. Let's start with ACC hoops. And if you didn't know, the biggest star, the number one star of the Duke-Syracuse game, and Duke's
Whoa. Let's
stop.
be really careful about throwing out who the number one star in the ACC is, because that didn't work out so well.
Armando Vega. The star of the game was our man Brian Geisinger, who was on the national call of ESPN Radio. Dude, how was it? That's all. I don't even care about the game. I care about your view of the game.
Yeah, it was. Well, first off, we hope want to make sure Bob Valvano is doing better, because he was sick, and that's who I got to fill in for.
Pac Pro, Bob
Valvano. Definitely a Pac Pro, but yes, through the kind works of a couple of different people, that game was offered to me and got to show up. It was a lot of fun. Electric atmosphere. Like, I was pretty excited at the start, little jumpy, but really fun. I mean, I've been to like 100 games inside Cameron, so it's kind of cool to see it from a different angle. And I've gotten to broadcast a lot of games, but let's just say as much fun as a game is at the Millis Center at High Point University, it's not quite Cameron indoor stadium. And to be there for one of the last Coach K games, Bay versus Kheim, or pardon, Jesus, oh my God, oh my God,
Bay versus Kheim, mark it down.
Wow, that was a slip. I guess I'm still a little nervous here, but yeah, Coach K versus Boeheim, and just a fun game. Like, AJ Griffin played well, Paolo Banchero played well, Wendell Jr. played well, so. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll get a chance to do that again at some other point.
Did you use bigger words since you were on national radio than like if you were just covering?
No, definitely not. And I feel like, I think some of you guys maybe have experience with this. It's just like the difference between doing TV and radio is kind of something you got to keep up with in those games, and so. When I do like color analysis for radio games, I try to be like as concise as possible. So I keep the 10-cent words in the jar and just try to be like, wow, it was a great play, and just keep it moving. But no, it felt. That's an interesting comment we got there.
Shout out to Panema Pabio Koba. Shout out, dude. We agree.
Shout out to P. It is the summer of P. But no, it was awesome, and I feel like. I don't know. I feel pretty lucky to have gotten to do it and grateful for the opportunity. So yeah, I'll stop like talking about myself here.
You didn't mention the best part.
What was that?
Mention the most historic part of what you did is, from now on, forever, the third week of January will be Bobby V week at ESPN. And, they'll mix it in throughout the year and try to like slip in another one like in June, and then another one like in November. But yeah, this is Bobby V week, and it was just, really cool for you to be there for the first one.
BG, did you work in a Hornets reference?
I did not, unfortunately.
Dang.
Should have.
He basically said the Hornets should not draft anyone on Syracuse's team.
Basically, yes. Not a great game for Buddy Boeheim. But yeah, it would be cool if the Hornets could draft a lot of guys on Duke's roster. That would be the inverse of that. Would be cool.
Ace Jones.
Yes, yeah, Charlotte guy, homecoming.
BG and Swain, what's Duke? I don't know. Question about Duke thrown to BG and Swain. Talk about Duke basketball. I'll give you journalists hate that, so I'll give you a talk about question. What's up with them these days? Obviously, a good performance against Syracuse. Everything going well for them?
I think the thing about Duke to remember and to really understand and take heart is that when they're hitting shots, they are better than they are when they are not hitting shots. That's something to mark down and keep an eye on for the rest of the season. Noted. Let's see.
Yeah. When the team filled with top 25 draft picks makes their 3-pointers, they're pretty tough to stop. But I don't know. That was like a nice win for them without Trevor Keels, and I think we'll see what it looks like going forward, just because I don't think Syracuse's zone was very good, has been good at all this season. They've been pretty bad. They were really bad on Saturday, but it was like a good game for Wendell Moore Jr., right? He'd been kind of struggling the last couple of weeks, or like hadn't been quite himself. And then, man, like, how awesome is AJ Griffin too? Like, that guy, 6'6", 7-foot wingspan, and he can shoot like that. The man has the widest shooting base in college basketball. It always cracks me up. Like, he gets so wide to shoot from deep, but 4 3-pointers in the first half and then another one in the second half. He was pretty awesome. So I don't know. When Duke plays like that, it's hard to like not get like a little juiced and sort of like think about like what they could be when they are hitting shots, like Swain said. But we'll see. There's some tougher opponents on the tougher defenses on the horizon too.
Yeah, I think the one
they
guy
tried
you
to play
didn't
the
mention
ACC Defensive Player of the Year twice this year too.
Well, I will say this about the guy that I would vote ACC Defensive Player of the Year right now is Reese Beekman from Virginia, and State just like put the stomp down on Virginia. So
before we move to State, Swain, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, I just wanted to recognize the game that Jeremy Roach had. And it's actually back to back. Duke obviously lost down at Florida State, but Jeremy Roach played well in that game, kind of stepping in as the point guard, which is Duke hasn't really had a point guard this season, right? They've used Trevor Keels, they've used Ben Caro, they've used Wendell Moore. They've used a bunch of different guys in that role, but they kind of let the offense initiate through Jeremy Roach, which gets a zone. They're not going to see that every week, obviously, but it was he had 9 assists, I think 1 turnover. Yeah. And he had 7 or 8 assists against Florida State too, I believe.
He was better defensively in this game too. I think that's like been kind of an issue for him. Some like Miami beat him backdoor, and some bigger guards in the ACC have like gone to work against him. But he held his own defensively against Syracuse. And like Swain mentioned, the assists, like he's definitely got it down pat. That like when Mark Williams is at the rim, like try to throw it in the direction of the of Williams. They hooked up a couple of times on the weekend. And just would also say, like, the Duke is a tough team to play zone on because of Ben Caro. You just like you throw it to him at the middle, and just all of a sudden it's the best. It's like the best like inside of 15-foot scorer in the nation. All of a sudden has the ball like in space in the middle of the defense. It's like, I don't know. It's like you give up that pass every single time down the court. And that's kind of exactly what Duke would like to get every time down the court too. So kind of a bad matchup for Syracuse. And Duke has been good against the zone so far this season. And Saturday was no exception.
All right, Moose, Goodson, State had probably their best performance maybe of the season against Virginia. Even when they lose, they're a heck of a lot of fun. The young dudes, Baby T, Sebron, is being fun good enough for NC State and more importantly for Kevin Keats?
I think it is right now because they're not going to win a whole lot of games. Let's just be honest about this basketball team in general. They play hard. They're fun to watch. And I'm going to go back to Swain's comment on Duke a minute ago. When you hit shots, it turns out that you win games. So that's kind of what happens with this group. If they're shooting the ball well, they're going to win. They play hard, and that's really all you can ask for right now.
Goodson, do you even want to talk about the Pack, or do you want to just jump straight to UNC losing? Your favorite team in the ACC?
No, before this year started, I basically cautioned folks to, if you're looking to follow this team as like something to expect a lot of wins and understanding that they're going to be really good and contend, and you're probably following them for the wrong reasons because Manny Bates is injured and they're young. Like we joke about that, but like
I've heard that.
There's reality to that, but no, I mean, at least they are exciting every night, right? Like I've got season tickets to games, and like they've been fun to go to. They haven't won they actually won their first ACC home game this past weekend, which is kind of weird. They were 0-4 before that. Actually, in Moose, you say they're not going to win a lot of games. Their schedule actually lightens up a lot on the back half. You don't have Duke anymore. You don't have Florida State anymore. You don't have Miami anymore. You get UNC twice, which is a bit of it. I mean, so they could string together a good, a respectful thing, and hopefully get out of Tuesday in the ACC tournament is probably their goal, and maybe sneak into the NIT.
All right, well, let's transition right there to who is playing Tuesday in the ACC tournament. If the ACC tournament started today, January the 24th, who would be going up on a Tuesday, Josh Goodson?
You don't want to guess?
I assume because we're playing, was BG knows because he knows the standings.
There's
So he's
Coach
out.
of the Year, Mike Young, and
Swinging that one is looking like a pretty big miss for me so far. Although it looked like
it's a head scratcher though because they got players.
Oh,
Dude.
he's like the Marcus Page of coaches.
Everyone likes Mike Young.
He is a likable guy, but I legitimately think he's a good coach. I don't know. They don't have a ton of depth, but it looked like they were starting to kind of put it together. They beat Notre Dame in state, right? Those are two good wins, and then you get you lose to Boston College. It's weird, and they get crushed on the offensive glass in that game. It's weird. So. Yeah, I don't know. But that's looking like the Hokies are looking like a pretty big miss for me.
Hokies are in on Tuesday. I'm assuming because we're playing the game that UNC's in there. But it could be
Pitt, Boston College.
Dawson College is not currently in on Tuesday.
What?
Way to go, Eagles!
They're 3-4 in the ACC.
What about Virginia? Are we going to get the classiest Tuesday ever?
Currently, it's Clemson, Syracuse, State, Virginia Tech, Pitt, and Georgia Tech.
Wait, so who? Got you. So it's 8 teams play on Tuesday, or 6 teams play on Tuesday.
6.
Gotcha. So the bottom 6. All right, and then who are the 4 double buys?
Right now, it would be Miami, Florida State, Duke, and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, they've been. They're really good offensively, and they have a freshman guard, Blake Wesley, who crushed UNC a couple weeks ago, and is very, very good.
Boy, do I remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
That game was awesome. The Notre Dame UNC game was awesome because that was UNC early on decided to switch every ball screen with Baycott and Manick and putting those guys on Notre Dame's guards. It didn't work, you guys.
Who's that freshman for Notre Dame?
Blake Wesley.
Golly, he's good, dude.
Yeah, I
think fun to watch.
He's probably he might be playing his way into being a first-round pick at this stage. He's been awesome this year.
Plus, he careered it against UNC like everybody does. Y'all know how it goes.
I will say, we joked about State versus UNC a second ago, but Sebron could really have a field day in that game, and he's been incredible so far this season too.
Also, all right, you know how sometimes you get on Twitter and you see everybody's talking about the day after Too Many Cooks aired at 4 a.m. I'm seeing people talking about it, but I can't figure out what it is. And I'm trying to search, and they're you find the source of what everybody's talking about. So I've gathered through Slack and Twitter that on the UNC hate text thread that effort is a theme this year for you guys. They're excuse
now catching on to this.
Excusing away losses with effort. I'm just saying, I've been picking up on it over the past couple of weeks. So
it's been years, dude. It's been years.
So that if UNC loses, it's always described as effort.
Always effort.
But why is that softening the blow? I feel like that's more of an insult than saying they suck, right?
No. It's the fact that it's just it's a switch that they can flip at any time. They can just decide to be good. It's fine, guys.
And it discredits that the other team is actually maybe better.
Yeah.
Do we have any time?
Years for this, and the theory is it doesn't come from the coaches. It comes from the media asking the coaches in the post game, did the guys just not try hard enough? and so that's kind of where it comes from. But it's
all right.
But now UNC has a coach that doesn't get the pass from everybody. I wonder why that is, but
because he's new.
Different theories there.
Because he's new.
But he's not getting the same pass that other coaches get. Let's actually talk about that. Hubert's getting killed this week, and I want to give him some credit. I want to give Hubert some credit. I want to give Roy a lot of credit. I want to give Krzyzewski a lot of credit. BG, I know you saw this. Did you guys see the comments from Penny Hardaway this week?
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So Memphis has, the best recruiting class in the history of the world, and they have been god awful this year. And so Penny's starting to get some heat, and he absolutely lost it in the media, like dropping F-bombs in his press conference, and just absolutely lost it. There are 5 or 6 people on the planet who would survive more than a month coaching Duke or North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I want to throw it out there. Like we joke about this all the time with Virginia fans. Like, please take us seriously, but like, don't ever criticize us.
Yeah.
That's not how this shit works, Virginia fans. Sorry. That's not how this works with wanting to be a good basketball program and wanting to be taken seriously. You're gonna get criticized, and Penny showed that this week, that there are just so few people in this world who could survive living and coaching and being even a fan in this area. And it's definitely not Penny Hardaway. It's definitely not one of them.
Well said. All right. Before we move, we're moving on from ACC hoops, unless anybody else wants to get
We
into
literally
something.
talked nothing about Wake Forest and UNC.
I thought we just talked about UNC. They suck.
No.
I was legit curious, and BG, I know we kind of sometimes paint you as like the Wake Forest guy just growing up in Winston, but
we don't paint him as that. He was the Wake Forest guy growing up in Winston.
My chest is painted tie-dye.
We can see. I can see the toilet paper still draped around your.
Yeah. I rolled the quad, which is the little
virtually
tree. Is the tree in my front yard here.
Wake kind of going through a stretch right now, like between both of their main programs of like just being good and taking names and beating rivals and like.
Yeah,
I'll say it like this: there is the anti-UNC text thread, but it's slowly becoming a. If Wake loses too, that'd be cool also.
This doubles as the Dave Clawson and Steve Forbes agent thread as well to try to get those guys jobs probably elsewhere, but. I don't know.
Memphis head coach Steve Forbes.
I mean, he has a nice ring to it, you got to say. But what I think is interesting about Wake is how quickly this happened. I mean, the league is definitely down this year, but you go out and get Alondas Williams and Jake LaRavia in the transfer portal. The thought that I had yesterday was. Has this ever happened where a team in one offseason has gotten 2 all ACC players via transfer? That probably hasn't happened before, right? And Williams might be the player. I mean, he's up there with Banchero for player of the year discussions, and LaRavia has hands down been a top 10 player in the league this season too.
And Baycott.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and Darion Sebron and Wendell Moore Jr. I think first team All ACC should be a lock at this point. I really do. I think it should be Baycott, Sebron, Wendell Moore, Banchero.
A lot of games left.
I know. It's true. I know. But how do you like this? My All ACC first 5 is all from North Carolina schools. So how about that? And I hit every North Carolina ACC program. But that I don't know. I do sort of wonder if we're seeing. A shift of the Overton window as far as how quickly a rebuild should happen when you can go out and hit on guys in the transfer portal like this. If there's going to be this much roster churn, then does that shift the overall expectations for a new coach? I think even to an extent we've seen it with Hubert Davis because they went out and got Brady Manick and Dawson Garcia and the players that should theoretically help them win now. And be good now. So I don't know. Hats off to. I mean, it's more than just getting those guys. Wake and Forbes, I think, has empowered this roster to play a certain way. But they're really good, certainly on offense. And oh God.
What's the best run in Wake athletics history? Is this the best combo football basketball they've had?
I think it might be because it's if I remember correctly, it's the 06 Wake ACC football season. That was happening on the downslope,
Chris Paul era. Yeah,
Chris Paul left, and it was but it was just before they got Jeff Teague and James Johnson and Al-Farouq Aminu. So maybe that maybe 2007 because football was still pretty good then as well. But no, I think this is it. This is probably it because Wake was so bad in football, prior to, or for the most part, was pretty bad prior to Grove. So, yeah, I would say that this has got to be it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Totally unrelated, BG, but is this also the longest stretch in Wake athletics where they haven't played anybody?
Yeah, probably.
Totally unrelated. That's like if you start at the beginning of football season and you go to right now with basketball season, is beating NC State in football like the best win that they had?
Just a bunch of forfeits in a win over NC State. That's all they've got so far. I think so, but hey, look, you got to play what the schedule says, and or not play what the schedule says. And yeah, certainly. Wake literally almost had a win early this season by not playing a game, right? The ACC changed the rules, but initially that Boston College forfeit was going to count as a win for Wake, and then obviously it gets flipped back. So yes, to your point, Wake is so far ahead of schedule. They're basically winning games they haven't even played yet. It's amazing.
Anything else, college hoops or ACC hoops wise? Do you guys want to bag on UNC anymore? You want to shovel more dirt? Are they done, BG?
UNC? No, they're not done. They're not very good defensively, but they're there's still a lot of talent on this roster, and they're a pretty good offensive team. So I don't know. I think they'll still win a bunch of games, but what's your ceiling if you're not very how good can you actually be if you're
the roof?
Yeah, yeah, but good point. Fair, but yeah, I just don't think defensively they're where they need to be to actually threaten as a dangerous team. I do think they should play Hayes. Would you feel like it would be sacrilegious to see UNC basketball play zone defense?
Nah, some would say, even though they took some grad transfers over the years, but going out and getting a starter transfer and that some would say that's anti. I'm whatever helps you win.
Because I kind of think that's something they should do more, because they can't stay in front of the ball versus pick and roll. And so I don't know. They're big. I would just play zone more if I were UNC, honestly.
I think Dean Smith used to play he used to have his own fancy zone that probably wasn't that fancy, but because it was Dean Smith, he got credit for it. It was the point zone or something. I don't know. It was I feel like I think teams, especially in college, especially playing against young guys, play a possession of zone every now and then just to mix up looks, right? Let's just make it a little bit harder. I think every team should have more in their bag.
I agree. I think that's one of the things that Pastner does well at Georgia Tech, right? Is you can play against them on 3 straight defensive possessions and they'll be in a different alignment every time.
Yeah. So I think at the very least have some zone just to mix it up. And then, yeah, if it works, stay with it. You can get in your own head and be like, oh, maybe this will work for us. Maybe we won't suck.
Yeah. I just think that's a thing they should try. I think that's a thing they should try.
Maybe a little more effort and some zone defense on the heels or an Elite 8 team. All right, friend of the program. Are we discussing this? Friend of the program, Josh Graham, while watching NFL games this weekend, tweeted, "This is everybody gets drunk at 2 a.m. and calls their mom to tell them they love them at some point in college." Point of record: did anyone do that? Is that I'm not trying to.
I'll tell you 2 things about me. 1, I love my mom. My mom is awesome. And
Same.
2, I drank a lot when I was in college. And I never once or even considered, man, I gotta call my mom.
I don't get it. Yeah. Maybe it's because we only had cordless phones in our dorms and we didn't have cell phones in college. Maybe that helped us not call our mom. I don't know. Yeah. I went literally, I think I went a month without calling my mom from college. I definitely wasn't calling her at 2 a.m.
You can't do that, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm bad.
You gotta say, I'm not saying do the drunk dial your mom, but you should stay in better contact with her. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, so we did want to hit on that. I also do just want to give a quick shout out to all the folks who have been streaming with us, all the folks who are commenting. Jake, Oren Day, great photographer who's captured some great Sports Channel 8 moments over there in Cameron Indoor. Kyle, Rob, Chris Wojcik, our man, whose name I can't pronounce. Double D, Jack. We're not ending yet, but I'm seriously, we appreciate everybody streaming. We're going to try and do this Monday, Wednesday, Fridays with some regularity. We may have some folks fill in if not everybody can do it. We may bring back a little game show action. So keep it tuned. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, we go live. All right, our final topics today, we'll do it in Sports Channel 8 fashion. Rightly rated. Start off with the NFL. Is the NFL overrated, underrated, or rightly rated? Since Carolina stinks this weekend, I'm all in. Well, I'm all in on the old Panthers, and still hope for the Panthers to be good again.
The old Panthers are the Bills.
That's true. That's true.
That's the Panthers.
I don't know. What team are y'all bandwagoning on? Like I didn't feel good about cheering for any team. I felt good cheering against some people, but now I'm like, I don't know who I'm actually cheering for anymore.
The Bills would have been a fun bandwagon team, I think, to hop on.
I think just because I think I'm so anti-Buffalo just because the hockey thing. Like, I don't know. I can't do it. And then Goodson, you want to poo-poo the NFL weekend too? Not the best weekend of football ever?
We're hearing it's the best NFL weekend in the history of football. And the games Saturdays were kind of trash except for, like, just the end.
The end.
It was 13-10 in Green Bay, and the only reason we liked it is because it was 0 degrees outside. If it was 41 degrees, no one would care about it being a 13-10 game. Those two games were kind of trash. The Bucks game yesterday, the only reason it became like wild and crazy is because the Rams literally started throwing up on themselves the last 10 minutes of the game. You can't make it up. There was fumbles. Didn't they have a snap go over Stafford's head?
Yeah.
Rolled 40 yards down the field that suddenly the Bucks got. Crash. The Chiefs game, I guess, was good, but I was asleep, so I didn't see it. So I can't really comment.
All right. Only Josh Goodson can mow through the Packers game and the Bucks game without mentioning Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, two of the things that made that so compelling. And I don't care about how trash the game was. I didn't really watch that much of the game. I saw the end of the Packers-Niners, but that produced an all-time great Twitter moment. Just unity across Twitter of dunking on Aaron Rodgers, everyone trying to one-up each other.
I want to pause because I want you to get into this and give it the full attention it deserves. I got to sneak something in to piggyback on what Josh said, though.
Okay.
Very important to me, very near and dear to my heart. In March, in the NCAA tournament, the reaction after the UCLA Gonzaga game of, we're going to be talking about this game for a decade. That's all I could think about last night. Like, yeah, it was a cool game, right? Like, that was a crazy end. I was texting friends, and it was a wild end of the game. But to Goodson's point, I'm not going to be talking about it next weekend, right?
No one won anything.
If I put on Twitter, man, this game is the UCLA Gonzaga of the NFL, everybody would be like, what? What? You're like, they played like 6 months ago, and you said you'd remember it forever. That's kind of how I felt about that game. So I just want to throw that out. I'm 100% with Goodson. It was awesome, but yeah, let's forget about it. I'm to this because this is awesome.
But then, no, and I'm not going to read you all the tweets or all the jokes, but just the Aaron Rodgers joke off was just amazing. Everyone brought their best material from the nicknames to some that were even. All right, everyone want to give your favorite Aaron Rodgers tweet joke that somebody. We should look them up and credit people, but I don't know. There were so many different versions of them. BG, did you have a favorite?
Him being I'm probably stealing this from someone, but him being described as Throw Rogan or Breitbart Star was just so good, dude. Just so good.
Moose, did you have a favorite Aaron Rodgers?
I did not, man. I was not on Twitter during this. I missed all of that.
My favorite one was
we get it.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers fan, Weather Moose.
My favorite one was whoever tweeted, "If you're still in line to dunk on Aaron Rodgers on Twitter, stay in line.
Hold the line. Hold the line."
I also and I don't even think this one was necessarily fair, associating these two things. But it was like the Packers could still make the Super Bowl if Mike Pence has the courage. just not even really. Like he didn't really get into that.
Okay.
Like we took Aaron Rodgers from being anti-vax to being January 6th.
Yeah,
which is just. But for the purposes of entertainment on Twitter, it was beautiful.
Yeah, David Roth, who's one of my favorite writers from Defector, tweeted after the game, Aaron Rodgers dead-eyed, muttering, "Let's go, Brandon," to every question he gets after the game, which is also really good.
Again, it was a unifying moment, and it was hilarious. Also, quickly on the NFL, did overtime completely kill the Bills Chiefs game? We had a great back and forth. Was it 3 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes, and then overtime? Everybody wants to change NFL overtime rules. That's my point. Do you care? No, you guys don't care.
I don't care. I mean, it does seem dumb that like Josh Allen doesn't get the ball one more time in that game. Like, that does seem kind of unfortunate. But I don't if you want to embrace debate, let's go for it. As our
good friend Max Gongaware pointed out, Josh Allen got to call the coin flip. So he had his shot, okay? And he lost. And he called tails. He went out calling tails. If you're going to lose, at least call heads and make it be tails on you and be like, well, I just got screwed, right?
I thought tails never fails, though, man. I feel like that was a solid, heady play there from Josh Allen.
But don't say he had a shot. He had the game. He had his destiny in his hands, and he called it wrong. Tommy Lee Jones from Batman gave Josh Allen, Batman Forever, gave Josh Allen the same chance that everyone else had. Coin flip, left fate decide, and Josh Allen lost. He's a loser. NFL.
They should have let the quarterbacks do Wordle.
Okay, well, that's our next rightly rated topic is Wordle. Wordle, overrated, underrated, or rightly rated. Swain, you've got Wordle as your name, but are you even playing, Swain?
No.
You just
I didn't even do the right number of letters, I guess.
No, you did 6. It's just 5. I gotta say, Goodson, I would have expected you to be an anti-Wordle guy. You're sort of you don't want to send your kids to college. You're an anti-intellectual. You don't read books. You're playing Wordle though. That was a little bit of a surprise for me.
I'm playing Wordle, and I this morning I actually picked up on I think I texted you all about it. Is it cheating? Is it cheating in Wordle to do like on your third guess, even if you've had letters that you've isolated? So you've isolated like maybe 2 of the 5 letters. Is it cheating to do a word for your third guess, just trying to get rid of other letters that does not contain?
No.
That's fine.
No, that's good strategy is what that is.
100%. Now, if you're competing against somebody else on like number of guesses or trying to keep your number of guesses average down, like you're working against that. But overall, if like your whole goal is to never to be stumped, like, no, I'm all about. In fact, I think there was one time, sometimes people will get like, oh, I got the last 3 letters are IMP, but is it crimp or skimp or whatever? I think you could have.
PIMP is what it is.
Swain, I might be able to hook you because there is a game somebody showed me that's called Loodle, which is basically Wordle, but with only bad words.
Oh, I would do that.
But I was mad because it rejects, like you try and put a snail in there and it's like, nah, like just like Wordle rejects, you can't put AEIOU and that like Wordle, it rejects normal words, but it rejected snuff, which I was like, that's crap. It rejected sex, plural. But finally, the other day I played Loodle and it was semen. So, but I think it's like Wordle. I think it's a new one every day. So you need to try Loodle. I finally got semen. Should we spoil Wordle? Goodson, do you want to spoil Wordle?
Here's a hint.
What? All right. Whoa. Tune out if you don't want.
I'll do 2 hints. Zapruder.
All right.
Wow. Well done.
No, I'm just kidding. I brought you back. But now we're in a different order.
I thought we were doing Jingleheimer Junction for a second.
It's F-U-C. Speaking of Jingleheimer Junction, actually, this reminds me. I was for a random reason I was talking to the Broughton athletic director, and he was telling me a story of one time when they came to shoot Shavlik Randolph in a game at Broughton. and there were some guys up there that had ESPN not apostrophe exclamation point, and NCHSA rules are like you're not supposed to allow body paint. And this guy's been an administrator for a long time. And he looked and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna let it go. ESPN's here. Normally I would tell him to cover up. Second half, he looks up and they have rearranged from ESPN exclamation point to P exclamation point and a PEN exclamation point S, which is great work to have that play going in. I'm like, what? It's just ESPN exclamation point. And I don't know if they went all the way out and had the exclamation point guy do a handstand, so he was a legit I, but regardless, it made me think of that when we heard that. All right. That is any other topics we didn't get to? I know we put out the Ozark like teaser of what our topics would be. Are there anything
cookies?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I had it written down. I just didn't get it. Final rightly rated Girl Scout cookies. Are they overrated, underrated, or rightly rated? Goodson.
They stink. They're just not good. They're like actually not good cookies. Like there'd be a difference if what we're buying is actually like good and edible, but they're not. And I think Swain made a good point. It's like the kids aren't even selling them; it's just the parents.
Yeah, it puts me in a huge dilemma because the cookies are fine, whatever. What annoys me is the dad who is all in your face about my daughter's selling Girl Scout cookies. How many do you want? And you want to say like, no, dude, you're selling Girl Scout cookies. Bring me your daughter, and you can't say that. So like, you want to call them out, but you can't call them out, because you're going to sound really messed up if you call them out.
I have never seen a girl selling Girl Scout cookies.
Exactly.
I have seen parents outside Walmart. I've seen parents in the office come to me.
Yeah.
It's never the girls going door to door selling cookies. Well, you probably don't do that nowadays anyway. But it's never that now. It's always the parents with the kids outside Walmart trying to sell these
It's basically a new youth sport. Is all that it is.
Man, this is the woke mob is trying to cancel Girl Scout cookies. It's pretty sad.
The benefit to the kids of being in Scouts or whatever and selling the cookies is the act of like ownership and, you know, like being able to converse with somebody to sell them cookies. It's not like, hey, Dad, here's this form. Go take this to all your friends.
Hey, have you seen the new thing this year? There's a friend of mine on Facebook just posted a link. You can direct order these things to your house, so the kids are not involved at all.
This is a scam, is what this is.
Yeah.
Girl Scout cookies scam. Scouts of America. Also
we need to get some sounders for, and because you saw that if you were here at the beginning, I played the theme show out of my fancy new home studio.
Now that I think about it, we're talking scam. Has anyone ever actually met or seen a Girl Scout?
You guys, I was shopping this weekend and I walked by a table and two Girl Scouts in their outfits were like, come buy cookies from us. And their parents had to like handle the money.
I do like the thought of Girl Scout cookies being like a mid-level marketing scheme, basically, of like what's going to happen now is, you know, we're not going to like buy the cookies and then eat them. We're going to like buy into the program and then we'll all start selling Girl Scout cookies.
Absolutely a money laundering operation. The Girl Scouts don't exist. I know people whose kids do brownies, right? When they're like, little kids, but I've never ever heard of anybody even saying I was in Girl Scouts, right? Like maybe 4-H. You definitely hear about 4-H. But I've never heard a person that I've met in my life say, yeah, I grew up doing Girl Scouts. They don't exist. Comment
if you are a Girl Scout or if you have a Girl Scout in your house. We know you're out there. All right. Well, back to the essential question, though. Is it a decent cookie? Are there good Girl Scout cookies at all? Because Thin Mint is a good cookie. Now, the size of the cookie has gotten smaller. The size of the sleeve that holds the Thin Mints has gotten smaller. The box that holds the sleeves. What did he say?
Thanks, Biden.
No, this has been going on for decades, that we have shrunk our Girl Scout cookies. But Thin Mints out of the freezer are still an A+ snack or dessert.
So they're not even good on their own. You have to do something with them to make them good.
They are good. Moose, back me up. You like multiple types of Girl Scout cookies. Don't lie in the face of the public pressure.
Yeah, no. I've got Thin Mints and peanut butter patties in my freezer right now. They're delicious. Love them. They're the best.
I might have to try peppermint patties. Comment with your favorite, because the meme was going around. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? Now, I do think a lot of them are trash, but Thin Mint is especially Samoa. Isn't that the one with coconut?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, thanks for nothing, Daniel William. Thin Mints are very good, especially out of the freezer. All right. Well, we're in disagreement on the rating of Girl Scout cookies. All right, fellas. Anything else? We'll close it out.
Australian Open, down to 8 on the men's side.
Well,
by the way, I do have an issue with that. I don't know, BG, if you've recognized this. I'm used to waking up this time of year with tennis on my ESPN2. Doesn't exist anymore.
Is it all on ESPN Plus?
It's all on ESPN Plus. I don't know if there's supply chain issues with getting commentators over to Australia. I have no clue, but it's really upsetting. But we're down to 8 tennis players on both sides now.
All right. Well, I think we'll have another show in time to update and actually talk about the Australian. 8's a little too much for us to go deep.
Including Gael Monfils, though, which is pretty sweet. One of my favorite players into the quarters of the men's final.
Are Djokovic, Federer, or Nadal? Nadal's in there? All right. Then I might watch.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, go ahead, BG.
You're just saying Djokovic is he's hanging out with John Stockton right now. They're broing down together. Aaron Rodgers is about to show up.
Aaron Rodgers is
must be a summit of the dumbest athletes in the world all leading up.
I did want to mention that there are 3 ACC games tonight.
Oh, yeah. We probably should hit that. We were looking backwards on the weekend.
Did you know that UNC has 3 games this week, by the way? So Hubert Davis fan club can have plenty of ammunition in either direction, I guess, right?
Make or break season. What are the games tonight, Goodson?
BC and Wake. Shocker, Wake's not playing anybody today. Louisville, Virginia, and then UNC hosts Mike Young and Virginia Tech.
God, I wouldn't watch Virginia Louisville with your eyes, Goodson.
Oh gosh.
I'll be in Chapel Hill tonight for UNC Virginia Tech, so I'll let you guys know. You guys have both. You've been in every 2 games. You've been in every state game. I don't want to hear it. I go to like 2 UNC games a year. It's like, oh, yeah, of course. We will try and reconvene Wednesday, where we might have a game show or we might talk some sports, depending on what happened. But thanks for tuning in. Subscribe on the YouTube channel so that you'll catch us every time. You can comment on there. Appreciate everybody who commented, especially this guy. We really appreciate the insight. Shout out to Matt McCon and Super Chunk for the best theme song in sports. We appreciate y'all listening. Sports Channel 8 streaming. We out.